Today we're talking about one of the more underappreciated rose fragrances that displays Amouage at their absolute best. Hello and welcome back to Eau de Enders. My name is Max, and in today's video we'll be discussing Amouage Rose Incense. Hopefully it focuses on camera this time, but this is, in my opinion, one of the most underappreciated rose fragrances, and it displays Amouage at their absolute peak, and I think it's one of the best Amouage fragrances ever made. Now, just a little bit of a backstory here. I ignored this Opus series from Amouage for a while. I'm fairly new to Amouage, even though I have many behind me, but I just sort of ignored it because of fragrances that I felt were very challenging, such as King Blue and Silver Oud. And I said, well, you know, this line for me isn't going too well. I'm just going to ignore it. But I came back to smell Rose Incense about 6 or 7 months ago, and I was like, what? This has been sitting here the whole time? It really is that good. So I've been putting this review off because I really wanted to do Amouage and Rose Incense justice. It's very complex, and it does evoke a certain imagery when I smell it. And I couldn't think of anything that could describe that imagery very well until, well, tonight, when I had sort of a bingo moment. Now, I know a lot of viewers on my channel are from my gaming channel, but if you don't know who I am, I do have a gaming channel. But I know a lot of people want me to talk about starter fragrances, and people say, Enders, why are you talking about niche? Why are you talking about this? I want to know how to spray a fragrance. I want to know how to do, beginner stuff. I'm definitely going to talk about that, but just want to remind everyone, this is kind of just a channel for me to express my interests to you guys and share them with you, and just to help people find something that they might love, because I've had family members approach me, multiple friends who maybe will even be in the comment section of this video, and I've really enjoyed helping them find fragrances that they love, and that is how I kind of want to approach this channel, just as like an enthusiast discussion channel, and I'll cover on, some top 10 lists, top 5 lists here and there. But enough yapping, let's talk about Amouage Rose Incense. So, Rose Incense for me was one of those fragrances that had an aha moment. I was like, whoa, like, where has this been all my life, basically? It just was one of the most captivating fragrance experiences to me. And as with all Amouage fragrances, I mean, the presentation is, in my opinion, almost second to none. The bottles are beautiful, magnetic cap, heavy, ceramic. You have beautiful design, the boxes are fantastic, the unboxing experience is fantastic, and I would expect nothing less from a fragrance that costs $380 retail. Amouage does not disappoint here, and one of the most impressive things about Amouage is just their atomizers. For very high oil concentration fragrances, oh my god, it smells insane. For very high oil concentration fragrances, it can be hard to get an atomizer that actually properly atomizes the fragrance and disperses it, but Amouage atomizers, I've always felt, are very, very well executed, even for fragrances with crazy oil concentration like Amouage Reflection 45, which is 45% perfume oil. Now, I mentioned this fragrance gives me an image, and it's one of the only fragrances that does that. So the image it gives me is evoked from its sillage, and to explain sillage, I'll explain it like this. You put a fragrance on, maybe on your neck or whatever, and you move around and you can smell it on you, right? That is the sillage, the trail it leaves, right? This fragrance has an unbelievable trail. It smells so beautiful, but it's not like overpowering. The image the sillage of this fragrance gives me is, imagine you're on a hillside, like a country hillside in a movie, sort of old style, like wood cabin sort of thing. There's maybe a little river down in a valley, and someone is drying clothes in your front yard on a clothesline. And it's very windy, and the clothes are blowing in the wind. The sillage of this fragrance is like the clothes hanging on that clothesline in the wind. They're draping, it's lingering, but it's sort of wispy and airy. It is absolutely gorgeous. In terms of the scent profile and just the longevity of this fragrance, we'll get the longevity out of the way first. The longevity on this fragrance is fantastic. I get at least 8 hours with this fragrance, maybe even longer. It does project quite strongly, I find personally, for the first maybe about 2.5 hours, then it slowly pulls itself back. But in terms of how the fragrance smells, it, again, has beautiful sillage. but the rose in here is of the dry, slightly jammy variety. It isn't dewy. It doesn't smell like fresh cut rose. It does have a dry quality to it. But it's not like it's dusty or anything. The incense or the resins in here really, I think, create that dry effect more than the rose itself. The rose is definitely sweet. It smells just sort of authentic and, like I said, slightly jammy, sweeter style rose. The other ingredients in here obviously smell incredible quality. Amouage, when it comes to fragrance ingredients, are second to none. They always source incredible things, and they're famous for their incense. And this is really, in my opinion, one of the fragrances where you can just tell, oh, okay, Amouage really does know how to work with incense. It just gives a beautiful sort of, again, wispy, incensey, dry feel to that rose. And there's ink listed in here in the top notes. The only thing that I could think of that ink is providing is right in the opening. It does have this slightly, maybe sharp aspect to it. Maybe perhaps inky, really. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of describing it. Sharp, inky. It doesn't last that long, though. It might just be there to balance some of the opening out, but other than that, it is not a key player in this fragrance. The key players are definitely, obviously, the rose and the incense with the myrrh, olibanum, all that sort of thing. It is a really captivating experience wearing this fragrance. It's amazing. I would highly recommend getting a sample of this fragrance, especially if you love rose. But even if you don't love rose, try this fragrance. I really think for a lot of you, you might be like, wow, I don't like that rose, but I love this rose. And that's how it was for me. So I'm obviously aware that Amouage has a fantastic fan base. I'm a fan of Amouage, and they're diehard Amouage fans. So I just want to know, did you guys get an idea of how this fragrance actually wears? Did I do a good job of describing it? As I'm going along with this channel, obviously I'm learning as I'm going along. With these videos, they're a lot of fun for me, and once again, I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I'm just sharing my interest for this with other people, and if other people like it and want to subscribe to the channel, that is absolutely fantastic. So let me know how you enjoyed this video. Let me know how my fragrance description was, if you got an idea of how this smelled, and if you enjoy the channel, be sure to subscribe and, of course, like the video. It really helps the channel out. So thank you guys so much, and shout out to Seldomly Often. Maybe he'll reply in the comments section about this video, because I know he's a big Amouage fan. So check out Amouage Rose Incense. One of the best from Amouage, in my opinion.